Alright, welcome back. Today let's do a short project, just something really quick and useful. A marble holder, a glass marble holder, goes right along with a glass marble. Very elegant, and they're kind of fun to make too, so let's take a look at this here. We're going to make a base section that looks like this here with some frit in it or powder, and then it'll just come up and have a little kind of a stalk with hollowed out area here, and you can see from the side profile here it's hollowed out on the bottom and hollowed out a bit on the top too. So this will hold our marble portion, and this will sit nice and flat on a table. So we're going to use some 1-inch diameter clear rod, and I'll probably hook it to some 10 to 12 millimeter handle material, which again is just solid rod. In this case it looks an awful lot like this. So there's our raw materials. And then you'll want to have some kind of a frit in a little container that you can put down there and push it in and get that frit picked up. So let's see. First thing we're going to do is really grow a gather on the end of our rod and get that thing built up in thickness and really put some heat into it until it's all molten up there. And then we'll go ahead and drop it down onto a graphite pad and flare it out into a disc. Just push it down, it'll form a big disc there. And at that point we'll want to take and dip that, we'll reheat the end of it and then pick up a whole bunch of fritter powder down there just to throw some color on this thing. And then we'll come back over to a big graphite block and heat it up, the whole thing throughout the disc. And then we'll roll it back and forth on this graphite block here while lifting this edge up a little bit so that it forms that little slope shoulder on the base of our, or on the top of our disc here, and it'll fold down and create that hollow in the base section. So now we'll put a good little bit of heat to it here on the bottom and hook up a punty to it. It's going to be another probably 10 or 12 mil rod. And though you do want to get this on good so that it doesn't fall off, don't overdo it or you'll peel off most of your frit or powder in that center area and it'll leave what looks like a hole in the design. So get that punty just right. And it takes a little practice, and this is how you do it. You practice. So once we've got our sorry, let me back up there. We're going to, after we put our punty on here, we'll come over here and cut it off in the flame, leaving just enough material to create that cupped upper portion. So we'll have something that looks like this, and we'll take a bowl push. In this case I'm using brass, which works just fine. And we're going to heat this area here up in the torch till it's just about really molten, and then we'll rest it on a marvering pad with an angle to it and begin marvering it through there while putting the graphite, or sorry, you could use graphite, putting the marble, crap, I'm totally getting confabulated there, putting the bowl push into the glass and spreading it out while marvering it, and we'll get this shape here with our little hollowed out area and a nice little flow up there. And then all we have to do is grab this side with a pair of claws so that we're holding on to it, and then tap off that punty, flame polish where the punty mark was, and we are back to our finished item. Let's give it a try. All right, so we've got our 1-inch diameter clear rod here. Put it right into the big old flame and round it up until it's about, half again the size of the rod you're working there, or thereabouts. And it seems to work best if you droop it straight down instead of going horizontal. It's easier to get it centered and see what it's doing. And then a little marvering on the back side will thin down that disc thickness. So heating up the bottom, drop it into some red exotic frit there, pick up a layer of it, and then melt that in. Then we'll go back over to the paddle after we've put that heat base back into it, and we'll do kind of the same steps again, but giving it the definitive angled shoulder here. And then we'll press it down flat, making sure that it's all perfectly flat. And that's a very gentle touch there. It's not real hard. You don't want to take out that hollow that you've created. So there we go. Now, if we grabbed it with the claws right now and then tried to cut off and shape the rest of it, we would overheat the claws and shorten their lives a lot. So this is time for a punty. We'll drop about a 10 mil punty right in there. Try not to overdo the punty. If you get it too hot and really weld it in there, when you tap it off, you're going to take off all of that frit that was picked up. So there we go. Hey, a little shout out to our new Patreon member, Michael Grady. And if you haven't checked out Patreon, please do so. And also, we do have an Etsy site. And the brass bowl push that you'll see being used here in a moment is available on there. So here we go. We're using the marvering tool to just kind of neck that down and define where the base is and where it tapers upwards to the cup shape that's going to hold our marble. I'm going to move up a little bit and then put a really tight, very small, intense flame there, and we will cut that little piece of glass off now, separating it from that larger rod. And we'll just have our project in our right hand. So marvering it down and moving that hot material on the surface out of the way allows us to put that heat into the cooler glass that was underneath. You can see how that just pushes it right to the side, nice and clean. And that allows us to cut it really quick without pulling it out and creating a long tapered shoulder. With this technique, you can pretty much make a squared off shoulder. So now we've got that material removed. We will just add a whole lot of heat here, and we will put enough heat into it that we'll be able to shape this entire upper portion with just the marvering pad and a brass bowl push. There we go. Nice and hot. Lots of time to work it. So squeezing it in between the marvering pad and the push and rotating creates a nice, clean, round profile. And repeat as necessary to clean this up. There we go. Nice little cup hollow that we can put our marble into. And we'll let that cool just a little bit, and then we can grab it with the claws without leaving any claw marks in it. And it's a nice secure shape too. This is really easy to claw onto and really have it stay in place. Some things like to pop out of your claws, not this. Here we go, a little fire polish. And that's all ready to go. We'll throw it into the kiln, make sure it survives and anneals proper. You can vary this. You can put in the stamped textured using the leather stamp. You see that in my other videos. And it just makes a darn nice little marble holder to give him that little sparkle. All right, well, thank you much. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you soon.